Are you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Görgött. Today we're making a Swedish classic, and it's quite a low-key dish. It's Stekt Fläsk med Löksås. Basically fried pork belly with an onion sauce. I'm gonna serve a mash with this, potato mash, but I'm not filming that. You can serve boiled potatoes, you can serve fries, well, you can serve whatever you want, but classically it's either done with boiled potatoes, well, it's probably boiled potatoes, but when I grew up, my mom always made it with mashed potatoes. Not the fine kind of restaurant potatoes, just hand mashed. So that's what I've done, and that's gonna go with this. But before we have a look at what we need for our pork belly with onion sauce, or fläsk med löksås, please do me the favor, support the channel by clicking that subscribe button and checking the bell icon so that you get notifications, because you don't want to miss anything. Now let's have a look. We have a wonderful piece of pork belly with the skin on. Now if you don't like that, take off the skin, but I prefer, when you fry it up like we're going to do, it gets really nice and crunchy. So we're leaving the skin on. We have some various kinds of, well, not various kinds of onion, yes we do. We have normal onion, red onion, we have some leek, and we have a bit of chives. The chives just go on top afterwards for decoration. We also need a bit of flour to thicken the sauce a little bit. But let's start with the prep, because afterwards we're going to have to head there. So let's start with cutting the onions, the leek, and then we're going to slice the pork belly. Let's start with the onion. Now do this the way you prefer it. Some prefer it diced, some prefer it just sliced. I prefer it sliced but halved. So we end up with pieces like this. Now go through your red and your yellow onion, and then we'll have a look at the leek. The onions are done. We head over to the leek. We're just going to use this green part, so we can put this part away. And with the leek as well, I just split it down the middle. Just be sure to wash it properly, because leeks have a lot of sand or soil in them. Leek is done as well. Just put everything together. Now the next thing we need to work on is the pork belly. We need to slice that up nicely. As I said, if you don't like this, take it away. You just cut it off like that. But I like it. Now for this dish, we need, I would say it's about 3 millimeter thick slices. This is perfect. So slice up your pork belly. For us, or for me, this will be enough for 2 people. Now, if you don't want to spend your time slicing your pork belly, you can also make this with pre-sliced bacon. But this tastes a little bit nicer. But if you're in a pickle, you need to get dinner on the table quickly, you can just work with pre-packaged bacon. We have our pork belly slices ready. Now it's time to move over to the stove. We're good to go. I'm sure you know this already, but you don't really need any fat when you're frying bacon, because it has so much own fat. And the nicest part of this dish is when you fry the onions afterwards in the same fat. In the bacon fat, basically. Don't forget to salt this side now. And while you wait for them to color on the first side, you can preheat your oven to about 50 degrees Celsius just to keep the bacon warm afterwards while we make the sauce. We can maybe start to turn them. I'll start taking some of them, because some of them are ready. The heat is a bit uneven, so that's why They're not all ready at the same time. And the last one. So now put this in the oven and then we'll continue with our sauce. So all the stuff we prepped before, the yellow, red onions and the leek. You want to get a bit of color on this. Not too much, but a bit of color. Now we're ready for the flour. It's about a tablespoon. And just mix that in. And then comes our cream milk. Well, that's what it's called in Swedish. It's just basically 50% cream and 50% milk. Now we're just going to bring this to a boil, let it come together, and then we're going to season it. Some salt and pepper, maybe some Aromat, and then we should be good to go. And we go with some black pepper, and a good pinch of salt, and a little bit of the yellow magic powder. Now in Sweden, some people put a bit of soy sauce in it. That obviously also needs saltiness, but they add in mostly for the color. But I don't mind a lighter sauce. I'm gonna keep it like this. Let's do another try. That's perfect. And from consistency, it's good as well. So we're ready now. We'll just move the camera and then we can serve it up. Our bacon is kept nicely warm in the oven. We're ready to plate it up now. But before we do so, as always, there must have been something you enjoyed about this episode if you stuck with me this far. So do me the huge favor and click that thumbs up button below. Like this episode. Thank you for your support. Now, let's plate this up. So we'll start with mashed potatoes. Now this is not the kind of fancy restaurant potato puree. It's really a mashed potato, but it tastes just as good, and I like the rustical part of it. Now we get our bacon. About 4 slices. And last but not least, our wonderful Löksås, our onion sauce. And just to make it look a bit nice, some chopped chives. Now let's dig in. Can't wait for this. This is really, I mean, if you work on a construction site or something like that and you go out for lunch, this is the typical thing those kind of restaurants would serve. It's rich. But really yummy. I'm leaving the skin on the pork belly gives this a little hint of crunch. I just love that. And this, I mean, if you get the pre-cut bacon, I think this is probably a dish that takes you probably 20 minutes to half an hour to prepare. With a potato puree, maybe half an hour. With boiled potatoes, maybe 20 minutes. So it's a really quick dish that you can do during the week. And even if you're not Swedish, but you enjoy bacon and onions, I'm sure you will love this dish. It really takes me back to my childhood at home when my mom made it. Very nice dish. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please support the channel as always by clicking the subscribe button and checking the bell icon to get notifications. Don't forget to leave a comment, let me know what you thought. And if you haven't done so yet, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me. So thank you for your support. Take care. Bye-bye.